and welcome back to one of my art demos. And I'm sorry it's been such a long time, but life has a way of sort of throwing things at you and you lose track of projects like this, which is a shame because it's great fun. Anyway, so today I'm going to have a go at a mixed media meadow scene. So I've got my canvas, and this is inspired by this tissue paper I picked up, and it's called Vivigade. I don't know if that's how you pronounce it. Vivigade decoupage paper, and it's got a whole assortment of prints on tissue paper. So in keeping with the meadow theme, I know it's going to be probably painted over mostly, but just call it a tone, or setting the tone, or an undertone I should say, for the painting. So I'm going to put a layer of that on. I might incorporate some tissue paper in different colours on top. I'd like to use some of my cardstock to denote patchwork fields in the distance, and maybe even some foliage in the foreground, and I've got a selection of them I can choose from. So this one's quite bright and cheerful, this one's very sort of vintage and antique-y, and this one's very vintage but less colourful. It's a bit more monochrome. These are really cheap. You can pick them up from the Works high street shop in the UK, and they're only £1 for a pack with several designs in, 32 sheets. So that's kind of a cheaper option. And I've got some stencils that just to create a bit of texture and stuff. So it's plenty to get on with, so I'm going to crack on and cover this with the tissue paper. Just briefly before I do, I've sketched out roughly what I want the picture to look like. So you can see there's lots of meadow flowers and leaves in the foreground, then there's a middle ground of landscape and sky, and it's nice to sort of divide your painting up into thirds if you can, yeah, I'll stop talking and speed this bit up for you. Okay, so that's all dry now, and I'm going to apply a bit of colour for the background. And what I'll do is sort of echo the sky and the land, so put some blue where the land is to show through, and some green where the sky is, and it will just peek through here and there after I've applied more layers. This is powder blue. It's an acrylic paint by it's the Galleria range by Winsor and Newton. And there's my green. This is sap green. It's System 3 acrylics by Winsor and Newton. Dale Rowney, this one. Oh, that's a bit dark actually. Okay, I'm going to let that dry, and while it's drying I need to choose which of these I'm going to use. So so what I'm doing here is I'm building up some of the meadow grasses and flowers in the foreground by sticking down some torn up pieces of paper, and this will probably be covered over a lot with added layers of paint, but it will just create impressions of something behind the paint, and then I'll put more of the same on top. So it's more defined. You'll see what I mean later on. Okay, I'm going to let this dry and then I'll come back to it a bit later, and we'll start building the next layer. Okay, so this is dry now, and I'm going to add some more paint. I'll wet it down so that it's a bit more translucent, and this could get messy. Right, I want to have a bit of yellow to show through in the background, because later on I plan to cover this with a thicker layer of paint and then scratch through to show sort of twigs and branches. So I'm going to use some Naples yellow to do that, which is, I use the Gallery of 1 Winsor & Newton. So I'm just adding a bit of water to it just to thin it down, make it a bit less opaque, so you can still see some of the design behind. So now what I'm going to do is add some strips of tissue for more colour. So put my tissue over here. Okay, I've selected a load of pieces of tissue, including some tissue I got that came with flowers, got delivered, and stuck them down. So getting more of the composition together now of fields and foliage and, you know, flowers here and there. So I'm going to carry on building that. I think I might have some stems in green and leaves cut out as well, stick those down. But I'm going to add some texture into some of this with some textured sand paste and some, maybe one with glass beads in it as well. I don't know if you can see this close up, but you can see where I've scraped the texture through into the sand paste, and I'm going to do something similar to that with paint on top of the yellow areas that I mentioned before. So I've got to leave this to dry now before I can do anything else. Yeah. Also, I'm going to do some stenciling here and there using makeup sponges. Got these from Poundland. Don't need to tell you how much they cost. And 24 of them, so they're easily disposable and they're just really good for daubing paint through stencils. Okay, I can see I'm going to have to do this in two parts, so I'm stopping now, and I've had a thought, instead of having this wavy line which is slightly twee, keep to straight lines, but what I thought of doing was bringing in a horizon here and maybe putting the sea in the distance here somewhere. So that will be my next focus, and I will carry on in the second half until I'm finished. So look out for part 2. Thanks for watching. Bye!